what you guys did at Stanford when you guys got that program going? And from an outsider, it looked like you're
feels
just
like
out
that.
toughing people.
It feels like that.
Does it?
It feels like that to me. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I haven't felt it since, like my time at that place. Why? Because we had blue collar kids, and whether it was Jim or whether it was David taking over, the blue collar mentality showed up every day. We didn't worry about who we were playing. We worried about how we played, and that's what Coach talks about. It's not about like the team you're playing. It's really about like us. Like, how do we prepare? Like, do we maximize the days? Do we take care of the things that we're supposed to take care of? Because if you take care of what you can take care of and you go out and play your best ball game, well, then you don't have any regrets. And again, nowadays, with all the outside influences, like on young people, it's hard to try to find your lane in that space. And Coach has been able to find his lane, and I think they love him and they trust him. And believe me, when you got that, that's the goal. That's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Love you too. Have a good night.
Thanks, Derek.
You got it.
I think I saw something that like Quinn Ewers is the first college football player to throw 50 passes and not complete 20 of them. What did you learn about your secondary today?
Well, I mean, our secondary's been much maligned, right? And I think, everybody wants to talk about the numbers. What we talked about today that can't be measured, is the will. Everybody wants to talk about the stat line. The only stat line that matters is winning and losing, right? That's the only one that you worry about. But, for some reason, people want to, and find, a great opportunity to talk about, like where we're ranked in pass defense and what that looks like. Well, like really at the end of the day, man, we got to play better. And I think our kids like took that challenge of playing better, right? And we got scholarship kids too, right? They're on scholarship too. We think we play pretty good football too, but nowadays everybody wants it to be a certain way. They want it to fit into a certain type of game. They want everything to be a blowout. Well, you know what? When you win, all you're trying to do is win in advance, right? And so, like, that's all we're trying to do. We're not gonna apologize, man, for the way it looks sometimes. We're still growing up. I've never had to apologize for my little daughter, my daughters when they were young, causing havoc and running around and like trying to figure out how to be good in public, right? So it's the same way. All we're trying to do, man, is just get better every week. This team got better today. Like, even with the circumstances that we saw in the first half, this defensive unit got better. So, hey, do you take that growing lesson and say, I'll take it every time? I don't want that every week. I don't think any coach wants that every week. Coach Gundy don't want that every week. Coach Gundy will hang me. He'll put me out there, put me out the pasture if that's what happens every week. But here's what we saw. Man, we fought. We made some mistakes. We got better. And now what we need to do is learn, what we did wrong in the first half, and let's try to make sure that we can make a 60-minute ball game next week, because that's the opportunity that we'll have post this game. We have another opportunity next week to go play a great football team on the road.
Derek, you mentioned your young girls, and it sort of makes me think about before the season, Mike was talking about Kendall Daniels.
Yeah.
He's kind of a live wire. Mm-hmm. You never quite knew what you were going to get out of him. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like he's maybe one of those guys that's most evolved through the first 7 games this year?
Yeah. Anytime young players play, they get better. Kendall Daniels has had, reps, and what you see is, tackling. Hey, he tackles like a freshman, right? Okay? Up and down. Man, when it's good, it's really good. When it's bad, you're like, okay, he's still going into it. But let me tell you something. He plays with his hair on fire. He got a smile on his face. He shows up to practice every day, and he cares about making sure, man, that he doesn't let his teammates down. So a guy like Kendall Daniels is fastly, immersing himself in the Cowboy culture, and I think that's important because he doesn't want to let his teammates down. And as you see yourself playing more, like, what does that do? Well, it helps bring in the focus, how games need to be played on Saturday, because like you can never. In practice, as much as we even go against our offense, you can never replicate the speed of the game as it is on Saturday. You just can't. And so like with that, I think a young man like Kendall Daniels gets better every time he touches the grass.
You weren't here obviously last year when he was redshirting,
Right.
but I mean, did you sense sort of how he approached that as you've gotten to know him? Because it could have been really easy for him to get super frustrated, and you know he hung in there.
Yeah, we tell guys, man, time. Time is one of those things where I know you want to speed it up, but sometimes you got to be able to take the lessons in front of you. And I thought, he learned from Poole. He learned from those guys, right? I mean, he's constantly asking JT, man, information. And I think that's what's so good about the room, with T. Harp not being available today. T. Harp's over there talking to him about, Flanny's talking to him about what he sees. We're having a lot of guys, having a lot of conversations about, man, how do we get it right? They're watching each other play and telling each other what they see. And I think that's the sign of, man, a football team or, man, a unit, man, that understands how important, the information in the game is. Okay, because believe me, today was so much about adjustments and our guys just needing to find a way, and they did. So, kudos to the Cowboys.
Was the halftime speech more technical talk, or was it more rah-rah?
There wasn't no halftime speech.
Okay.
There wasn't no halftime speech. We didn't have time for halftime speeches, man. We had to make some adjustments. So this thing was about, hey, doing what we do better. Let's do what we do better. Coach Joe Bob got on the board, man, hit a couple of things. Duff hit a couple of things with the corners. Hammer hit a couple of things with the secondary. And, I watched the D-line real quick and just, man, looked at what Coach G. Rich was doing. I think for us, we all stay in our lane. We all understand that we're better together, okay? And, what you try to do is let guys do their jobs. We went in and we went into our defensive room and talked about what needed to happen, okay, collectively. Then when we went in, okay, I spoke to them about needing to play a better second half. Hey, we can't play any worse, okay, man, and truly understanding that our best football is still in front of us. And then we got to adjustments, and then we went back out and played football.
What were the major differences between half one and half two? I'm sure you talked about a lot. Just gonna...
Major differences? Guys just eyes being in the right spot and guys doing their job. We were in the right spot. We were able to get numbers to the football, okay, because they were going unbalanced. They were running counter. It's a numbers thing. Sometimes we overran it. Sometimes we didn't get enough guys to it. So the reality was we had the right numbers and we were able to get it on the ground. And that was it. It was that simple.
How does your defense